Hi friends, it's Kayla Moran and welcome back to the Let's Get Candid podcast. I am so excited to be here with you and do my first official episode. Thank you so much to everyone who has listened so far and sent me a message. It means the world to me to know that something that I've been wanting to do for such a long time is being so well received, and all the encouragement and congratulations and excitement that you guys have just means the world to me. I can't believe I did it. I can't believe I started a podcast. I'm so excited to finally be realizing this goal of mine that I've had for about a year and a half now, but something that I've been actually wanting to do for so much longer. I just didn't really know the medium in which I would do it. But I wanted to come on here and chat with you guys, and this one's going to be a solo episode. I will be having guests soon. I'm getting a mic and I'm getting some more equipment just to make things really nice for you guys. Right now it's just me and my computer and GarageBand, and let's get this show on the road. So I'm so excited. I don't even know where to start. There has been so many things going on the last few weeks, and I was more and more being called to do this. I kept waking up in the middle of the night thinking of podcast ideas, or walking to class I had an idea. Every time I was messaging with somebody on Instagram, I was like, we should talk about this on the podcast when I do it. I want to have you on soon. And I kept sending messages like that. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And if no one listens, great. But if someone listens, I hope that it helps them. So here we are. And just wanted to come on here and chat with you guys about realizing your dreams. And that's going to be a big message that I have throughout this whole podcast, is just, if you want something really badly, go out there and do it. Find ways to make it happen and just be scrappy. I used to call myself a cockroach, and my best friend hates that I say that. And I still kind of think I am, but I've grown out of that fight or flight phase. And I used to call myself that because my best trait is resilience. And nowadays, I don't want to say that my best trait is resilience. I think my best trait now is my optimism and my passion. But for the longest time, my resilience is what kept me going. And I've been through so much, as we all do, as we all have. And no matter how many times I fell down, I would come back up again, and I would keep fighting and keep pushing forward because I knew that I deserved it. I knew that I wanted it. And no matter how many times someone told me that I wasn't good enough, or that I would never make it, or whatever it was, that I'm too much, I'm too passionate, I'm too emotional, I'm too this, I'm too that. No, I'm not too much. I'm perfect just the way I am. And one day someone will realize that. But right now, I'm going to realize that. I'm going to be the best version of me that I can. And that is something that has really been my guiding principle in everything that I do online. My social media is 100% an extension of who I am in person. But I really wanted to bring that to the focal point because I know that other people out there are struggling with that. And no one tells me these things. I get them from somewhere deep down in myself. And I hope that by me sharing that, someone else can relate and can understand and appreciate that, I'm willing to be open, honest, and vulnerable. I don't do it for anybody else other than myself, but it means the world to me when people say that I inspire them, or that I appreciate that I shared that. Because I've always said since I was a little kid, I wanted to make an impact, and that if anything I've ever been through, if any story that I share helps somebody, then I've done my part, and I've done a good job of taking up space in the world. And the reason that's so important to me is as a kid, I grew up dancing my whole life, and one of my dance teachers, the queen, I love her so much. I'm so thankful for her. She would always tell me, don't take up space. Don't be such a space filler. You're going through the motions and you're not finishing anything. And if you applied yourself, if you would try a little bit harder, you would do so well. You would be such an amazing dancer. Why don't you want it? Why don't you want to do it? And to be honest, I don't know then why I didn't want it. But I do know now that I regret just being a space filler, and I never want someone to say that about me again. And she didn't mean it in a bad way. It was truly the best criticism I could have ever received, because now 6, 7, 8, 9 years later, I'm still thinking of those words. And I'm so thankful for that, because I don't want to be a space filler. I want to, I used to shrink myself down because I was too afraid that people wouldn't like me. in all my emotional, passionate, intense self. And, not everyone's going to like me, and I'm okay with that. And I've grown up as I've gotten older. I've realized that, you know, I'm just going to do it because it makes me happy. And if I'm shrinking myself, the only person that I'm hurting is me. So I'm not going to be a space filler anymore. And that is why I wanted to start this podcast. And it's why I started my blog and my Instagram. And I started sharing everything that I do because I was feeling it. I was going through it. And I wanted to share that because I didn't want people to think that I was holding back. Even though in person sometimes I was, but on Instagram I laid it all out there. And it was my way of doing that, my way of expressing myself. And I want to do that here with you guys, and I want to be open and honest and vulnerable with you guys about anything and everything, whatever's on my mind, whatever is on your mind, any topics you want me to discuss with my guests. I want to have these candid conversations and really dig deep with them about whatever topic or endeavor that they're working on, about how they got to where they are, why they're doing what they're doing, the struggles that they've gone through along the way, the accomplishments that they've had, and what's next. And, me going through law school and realizing that law school is not necessarily the best place for me, but being thankful for that opportunity to be at law school and to be at the law school that I am and at the time that I'm in during COVID, where we had the opportunity to kind of change gears and, explore other opportunities that maybe people don't get until later on in life when they're trying to transition from law firm to in-house or another law firm or starting their own company or own firm or whatever it is. I got opportunity to do that while I'm in law school because we were home for so long and I had more time on my hands, and I was just truly thinking about what makes me happy, what my purpose is, how I can put something out there into the world that I'm proud of, and how I can make an impact. And I realized that I want to combine my legal background and my social media passion. I'm so passionate about sharing on social media and being a resource and a friend and a mentor. And I want to be all of that and more. So I started a podcast, and I'm going to explore that on this podcast and in my future endeavors. And also at school, I'm able to write, in order to graduate, we have to write an expository. It's a graduation paper, and there's a few ways you can do it. You can do it through a class, or you can meet with a professor and come up with a topic, and you write an application, send it into the school, and if they approve it, you can pick your own topic, basically. So I chose how social media and the social media marketing industry has impacted the legal industry. And I get to really deep dive into social media from the lens of a legal scholar. And that is so exciting to me that I really get to combine the two things that I spend the most time on and learn and grow even more. And yesterday I met with my professor who I'm working on this with, my supervisor, and we kind of just were throwing around ideas, and I came up with a concept, and now I'm gonna go write a thesis and an abstract on this and then start digging in. And I'll share more about that as I get deeper into it, but it feels so good to be combining the two things that I'm the most passionate about. And, every time I've shared that with a classmate, even classmates that I'm not really that close with, that I'm just friends with socially, people that I haven't talked to in months, my friends, my parents, my dean, the dean of the law school, he loves my idea, professors, anyone that I talk to about this, I don't know if it's that they can see how passionate about it I am, or just that they think it's a really cool idea considering that social media is such a emerging industry and how it is affecting the world and business and the legal world like crazy, that it's a timely thing, but just everyone is so excited for me. And I mean, I would have done it anyway because it's what I like, but knowing that I have the encouragement and the backing of the people around me means the world to me. And I just wanted to come on here and share that, because if you have something that you love, you're passionate, that keeps you up at night, that you can't stop talking about, that your face lights up when you talk about it, do it. Find a way to make it happen, no matter who tells you whatever they tell you. there's always going to be naysayers. There's always going to be people that are envious of you and that are projecting onto you to make you feel smaller because they're insecure. But if you love something and you are passionate about it, why are you going to let that hold you back? Why are you going to hold yourself back? And that is something that I realized this year. Had some roommate issues, had some friendship issues. As we all get older, we start, setting boundaries and sticking to them and removing things and people and concepts and just stuff in our life that isn't making us happy anymore, isn't serving us, isn't, it's stressing us, because no one's got time for that. And as I started doing that in the last few months, really at the end of 2020 and beginning of 2021, I realized I was holding myself back and I was making myself feel smaller to not hurt the people around me. But for what? The only one I was hurting was myself, and I was being a space filler. I was just living on the earth. I was just living here, taking up space, going through the motions, but I wasn't happy and I wasn't living up to my potential. And I've always known that I had potential. I've always dreamed big since I was a little kid. I actually, when I was little, I've always wanted to be a lawyer. And I always said that I was going to be a lawyer for a lifestyle company like Coca-Cola or Target or Disney or one of those big companies. And in a way, I'm still getting to do that. I'm still getting to work with those companies and companies like them. And I'll still get to use my legal background with or for those companies in just a new way, in the 21st century way, in a way that I get to create. That's the beauty about the time of the world that we're living in, that there's so much unknown going on that this is the time to reinvent the wheel and to rethink everything and just follow your dreams. There's no time like the present. And it just, I don't know, I've been really wanting to start this podcast so I can share that with you guys. It's something that has been really weighing on me, and I haven't been sleeping, and I've been really struggling to feel at peace because I felt like I just needed to share that, but I didn't know how. I can talk on Instagram stories forever, but at some point people just start skipping through because they don't want to listen or they don't want to watch my face on Instagram stories. And I didn't want to do a YouTube channel because I didn't want it to be so curated. I didn't want it to be that I had to have a pretty background and I had to be all dressed up and, get a camera and all these things, which I know that I don't need to do that to have a YouTube channel. I could have just done it, in my sweats, no makeup on, like I'm doing right now. But I liked the idea of a podcast that you can listen to at any time, any place, while you're driving to work, while you're walking around, on an airplane, wherever, on a road trip. And you could listen to this and be inspired. And if there's anything that I can leave you guys with throughout this podcast at any time, is that I want to showcase my growth and my perseverance and my resilience and my passion for self-improvement and bettering myself and wanting to take up space in the world and inspire you. So the reason I named the podcast the Let's Get Candid podcast is I want to really have those hard-hitting conversations and dig deep and chat with people, connect with people, and get to know them on a different level and really see what inspires them and what they're passionate about and how they're using their gifts and inspire you. So I wanted to just give you guys that little bit of an introduction. And I don't know when my first guest will come on the podcast for you guys, but hopefully soon I'll start recording some episodes with my friends and my network of classmates, friends from college, friends that I've met on social media, my boss, my friends and family back home, just so many people, so many exciting people that I want to talk to that have already, some of them, expressed interest that they want to come on and connect with you guys. So I'm really excited to get this thing started. Welcome to the Let's Get Candid podcast. If you like this episode, please leave a rating and review. Please subscribe. Follow along on Instagram at the Let's Get Candid podcast. Follow us on Facebook. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you guys soon.